YouTube, how you guys doing? Here's the video.
Welcome, Deception Stoppers. Hi, we want to start out by saying thank you guys for your patience. We know it's been a while, but as you know, we are very busy, so we want to give you quality videos with quality information. So it's very important for us to take our time while doing this. So what we want to actually say is all constitutional rights invoked, none waived for this video, as many of the other ones. And what we're going to predominantly be talking about today is two separate issues. We're going to begin this video by speaking about the Franklin County domestic court and the divorce that was going on in that court. Now, as many of you know, the divorce had went on in that court since June 14, 2016. All right, so it's been well over 3.5 years that we've been going through these matters and stuff. Now, we were in a divorce court and there was a trial. The trial began on the I believe was it 12th, 13th, and 14th? Yeah, 12th, 13th, and 14th was the trial dates. The 14th got striked because the trial concluded successfully on the 13th, so there wasn't a need for the extra day. Now, what do you want to begin with?
Well, I guess it'll make sense we first talk about what happened with the trial court and the divorce stuff, and then we'll talk about the federal, the update the federal stuff, like these rulings.
Yeah, because as you guys know, on the federal case, there have been rulings issued, and there have been 4 orders issued. So we're going to be speaking about that specifically speaking about what those rulings were, what happened, what does that mean for us, and all of that kind of thing. So we are going to get right into it.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So
yeah. So yeah, the divorce, it went well. It went very well. It was very brief. It was simple. We basically talked about mostly the financials and stuff. We had to provide documents. I asked questions to my wife regarding certain, the complaint, some simple stuff. Just like asked her if I had a stroke, and asked her,
So primarily what happened is, just to give the new viewers a brief, because the new viewers might not know what went on, but technically his wife filed a false divorce complaint down with the Franklin County domestic relations court. She filed that, and she filed that as a part of a scheme. It wasn't a honest divorce like a normal wife would go and file divorce just to separate, but this was actually a financial scheme under the guise of a divorce, under the guise of a woman in distress. So basically she played the damsel in distress, and she played the role on the courts, and she made it seem like Moses was someone he wasn't, and she filed a false complaint. So it made everything look bad at the beginning of the proceedings for the divorce, because if someone makes some allegations about you and you show up, and and I'm gonna be honest, being black, when you show up there and you have somebody that's not black that's saying, oh, you did this, and he did this to me, and he did this to me, and he did this, and he did this to me. So she put this in the paperwork, and so it looked really, really bad. Now, the court's not knowing Moses. Yeah, well, they didn't know him well at the time. So, they just, I guess, took it as true, and they were just very aggressive on how they dealt with him. Extremely aggressive. It was 2.5 years. He didn't see his children. As you guys know, for a parent to exercise a right, a constitutional right, cannot be punished by a contempt of court or any court orders that's issued that have not been issued with due process. Those that court order is not a secure court order. It may be looked at as a lawful court order by the person whom issued it, but if it's not issued with due process, if it's not issued with the certain parameters within the 14th Amendment, then it fails, and you can ignore that with impunity. And if you're punished for it, then you could seek redress for that punishment because the order was unconstitutional in the first place. Okay, now we're going to get more into the detail of this. The whole divorce thing was pretty much a nightmare, and it seemed like it went on for 10 years. Yeah, that's how long it seemed like it went on, and that was a very painful 2.5 years that he was basically forced to go without seeing his children because they thought that he was this big villain and who didn't want to follow court orders and who did adultery and who did cruelty and neglect. So this is all of the stuff that she filed, and they figure, oh, this the same guy who did the cruelty and neglect and the adultery. He don't want to follow court orders, so let's do this. They imposed all of these fines. They gave him he had 10 days to come up with a ridiculous amount of money. It was I think it was together collectively about $3,000. Yeah, between $2,500 and $3,000. He was ordered to come up with within 10 days or go to jail. Thank God I was able to come up with that money. I was able to personally come up with that money. That money came out of my pocket. That money paid his wife's legal fees. That money paid for parenting classes that they wanted him to take. That money paid the guardian ad litem, Rosemary Welch. A lot of my money was used to pay a lot of things that it shouldn't have been used, especially when his wife was generating more than $100,000 a year and had more than enough money in to her name to be ordered to pay him spousal support. So initially, the Franklin County Domestic Court, they passed on the spousal support. They said, look, we're not giving you spousal support. We're not going to decide it. We'll decide that at the end. So they just passed on it. That's what they called it. They passed on it. So subsequently, what happened after they passed on it, it made things difficult because it made me have to, pick up, where the financials, and this is my brother, so what's mine is his. It didn't matter, but that's how that is how that went. So after that, once they did that and they didn't give him the spousal support to supplement his income, then what happened after that is, many bills and things became overwhelming, and he had to file bankruptcy. He had to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. He filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy in a bankruptcy court in Columbus. That Chapter 7, there was many abusive things that took place in that Chapter 7. Many people that are on this channel now, which a lot of lawyers follow this channel, so a lot of you know that if you have not had a lot of debt, like if you don't own any major businesses, if you don't have a lot of financial stuff going on, if you file for Chapter 7, there's something called a means test that you have to pass. Now, if you don't pass that means test, then that means you have to file another division of bankruptcy, not Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is exclusively to wipe the debt clean. So Moses filed Chapter 7, and they took 18 months. They took 18 months. They took 18 months to give him a discharge. So what that meant was they took 18 months to give him a discharge. So because he filed bankruptcy, it stayed the divorce case. It froze the divorce case until his bankruptcy is up. So subsequently what that did was that suspended the divorce until his bankruptcy was decided. His bankruptcy was not charged. His bankruptcy was not charged off until March of this year.
Basically, that was another form of abusive process.
Oh, absolutely, that was a form of abusive process. That was extreme abuse. So his bankruptcy was not discharged until March of 2019. The bankruptcy was filed August 11, 2017. All right. So there's a lot of abuse there. You know, normally Chapter 7 bankruptcy is decided. It can be decided in as little as 60 to 90 days. In as little as 60 to 90 days. All right. In as little to 60 to 90 days. So if you say 60 days, then you would say that it took what? It took a ridiculous amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? 60 days or 90 days, 3 months versus 18 months. Yeah, that's extreme. So that caused him not to be able to put any emotions in to see his children.
And I know some of the people watching, they probably like, well, wait, he just said that his wife was making over $100,000. How the hell was he able to file? How was he able to file
Chapter 7
when his wife is? I have no idea. I don't know how that was possible.
Yes, Chapter 7 when she's making $120,000 today, a year. So it was just really ridiculous. There was a lot of creative corruption that was going on, and that we pretty much was not willing to tolerate. All right, so we did what we had to do. Now a lot of you know that we end up suing the judge on that case. We end up suing the magistrate. They threw those out. They let the magistrate and the judge continue on the case. Okay, so he went forward with the case, went through the trial. Okay, now we're going to get down to the details of what happened at the trial. What actually happened at the trial was he called his wife to the stand, asked a series of questions. She got basically caught up in all kind of lies. He was asking questions that she wouldn't be aware of why he was asking those questions until after the fact. So when he started asking the questions, she answered them truthfully. She answered some of the questions truthfully, and when she answered those questions truthfully, it exposed her. It exposed her, and she really embarrassed the courts. She embarrassed all of those people. Her and her counsel, Stacy Gilbert, Stacy Gilbert Orsborn, they embarrassed the court because the courts, in our opinion, the courts was operating as if all of that stuff was true, because they were so aggressive with what they were doing. They were saying, we're not going to give you spousal support, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, and it caused a lot of damage. And then the bankruptcy court was not making any rulings, and they were abusing the process there. Yeah. And that was forcing him to have all that time away from his kids, because if the divorce case was stayed because of the bankruptcy, then that means he can't go to the divorce court and put in a modification on the temporary orders that would have altered the visitation, or that would have altered the situation to the kids, so where he could have visiting time, if he wanted to exercise that. And that is why he went down to, when he moved to Akron, he filed another divorce in Akron. The reason why he filed a second divorce at the divorce court in Akron was simply because the bankruptcy court in Columbus was abusing the process so bad that it was basically forcing him to not be able to see his kids until that bankruptcy was discharged. And he didn't see his kids until that bankruptcy was discharged, and that was a form of abusive process, because he didn't have ability to be able to go and put a modification in for them temporary orders because his bankruptcy case was stayed. All right, so that's how they use that that's how they used that to abuse the process, okay, which we don't appreciate. So the judge on that case was Judge Catherine C. Preston, who, by the way, is she's a complete dodo bird. She's a complete dodo bird. And the reason why I say Miss Catherine C. Preston is a complete dodo bird, which I'm sure she may watch this video. I want her to know that we think she's a complete dodo bird, because she specifically said to me that I cannot invoke the Fifth Amendment unless I get her permission first. That I was in her court and I invoked the Fifth Amendment because the attorney was asking me things that was not relevant to the bankruptcy issues. So I was bothered by that, and I was not about to allow him to abuse me. So I pled the Fifth. I invoked the Fifth Amendment because we were in a federal facility, and the Fifth Amendment is applies to federal officials. So she told me you can't use that, and I was so upset, but that's neither here nor there. Back to the divorce court. The wife was on the stand. She was saying certain things, and she, you know, she just made herself look bad. She made herself look really bad, and I'm sure the courts know who she really is now. I'm sure they know, and it's very embarrassing on her part, on her counsel's part, and on the part of the court as a public entity, because they should have did more fact finding before they start doing all of this stuff. The people didn't do enough fact finding investigation at the beginning of everything. Then a lot of this stuff would have been prevented. They just went and did what they wanted to do. But what actually happened in court was she was just lying. She was standing up there lying about values of the house. How you gonna say your house is worth $70,000 when you paid $100,000 for it 13 years ago? Okay, and these are some of the things that we were really upset about, and it was just so obvious, certain little things, and you know, they turned in the assets to us, and you know, the assets were right where we thought that they would be, it's just ridiculous, and she got them people in a whole lot of trouble. But I don't want to put the blame on her, because those people do this every day. They deal with many different backgrounds of different people, many different ages, many different backgrounds, many different ethnicities. And I know that if I do something every day, I'm going to be damn good at it. If I'm spending every day doing it, I'm going to be damn good at it. So when I see a certain situation, I'm going to know how to properly assess that situation, provided that I care. Now, these people didn't care. They didn't care. They didn't care. But like I said, we're gonna bring them the care, and that's what we have been doing. So the trial went really well. It lasted 2 days. She got up there. He questioned her. The facts came out. She was playing the damsel in distress the whole time, and
bringing that. I remember some of those times that we had hearings. She was bringing, like, she had napkins and like tissues
and going like this. Yeah,
like she was crying. Her attorney probably told her to do that, to play that role.
She was like this. She played they ass. She played they ass.
Nice try.
She played them. She played them bad. And she really embarrassed that court. And then all of those people who were believing her and coming at you like wolves, like your own attorney Todd Sidoti, Jeffrey Anderson, and them. Oh, opposing counsel is going to starve you out.
Catherine White.
Opposing counsel is going to starve you out.
Catherine White, though.
Oh, yeah. And you know, while we were down there, we seen many of the defendants. We ran into Catherine White, and you know, we want to say this. We want to say this. You know, out of all these people who did all of this stuff, out of all of these people who did all of this nefarious stuff, we would like our viewers to understand and take notice that we talked about an attorney that Moses had, an attorney that I hired for him by the name of Catherine White. And we want to say a couple of things about Miss White today on this video before we get deeper and go any further. We were sitting in a conference room down there, and you know, we were talking, and me and Moses was sitting in a conference room, and you know, we seen Miss White. We seen Miss White, and Miss White didn't have to do what she did. But what Miss White did is she came in to the room where we were. And, you know, we looked at each other. We were shocked, like, oh, what is she coming in here for? And we have to say that Miss Catherine White is better than a lot of those other defendants. And here's why. Because it's been enough time that has gone by where some essential facts have come out. And after this time has gone by, we believe Miss White had a chance to really find out who Moses really was. Okay? After all of the defamation and the slander, we believe that she found out who he really was as far as character and all of that stuff. And we believe that she felt really bad for what happened to both of us through all of this stuff. And we would just like for our viewers to know that, you know, Catherine White, she came in there and she expressed a certain level of
sorrow.
A certain level of sorrow, but I'm not going to say that she apologized, because she didn't apologize, but it was how she came in the room and how she interacted with us and how she spoke. You know, she said, I'm not going to say exactly what she said, but she's better than a lot of them. So we want to give her a little bit of recognition for that. We appreciated that because she showed that it was wrong. It was wrong what they did, and it shouldn't have never went like that. But she did say, you know, we're all just human, and she's right. We all are just human. But you know, but what happened? It happened though. You know, the damage, it happened. You know, kids didn't get seen for almost 3 years. He didn't have any financial support. You know, he had to just bite the bullet pretty much. And you know, and I don't ever want to see anybody have to go through anything like that again. And that is why we took the action in the district court. So the trial, the divorce case, it went really well. It wrapped up. He sees the children regularly now, and you know, things is getting back on smooth terrain, but it's going to take some time for him to completely heal from this, because it was so diabolical what was done. It was a blatant disregard for the United States Constitution. It was a blatant disregard for the 14th Amendment. It was a blatant disregard for his inalienable rights. It was a blatant disregard for him to have an opportunity, an adequate opportunity, to modify the temporary orders while the divorce proceeding was, while he was waiting for that divorce proceeding. I mean, it was just bad. It was just really bad. So, yeah, we want to let you guys know it went really well. They're going to be issuing a ruling. That ruling entry will not go out until 90 days. Until 90 days. So somewhere between 90 days, between 60 to 90 days, that decision will go out. So the judge in the court will make a decision based off of the information that was obtained via trial. But yeah, I think it went pretty well. He drove his point through. He had a chance to exemplify to the courts who she really was. Okay, and that judge was in her ass. That judge, I mean, she was in her ass, and she needed to be, because it's really a shame how they have egg on their face. It's her and her counsel's fault because a lot of it could have been prevented. But again, you know, you have people who deal with people every day, so they're going to believe what they're doing.
And then I don't think he mentioned it. They what they did, the original complaint, it was the divorce complaint was adultery, cruelty, and neglect of duty. They changed it in the trial. They changed it and they said, okay, this is just incompatibility, which that's what the whole thing was about in the first place. So we didn't really during the trial we didn't really talk about and try to like my character, like in regards to the adultery and the cruelty and stuff. I had witnesses that I wanted to question
that were there that showed up.
They showed up, and because they changed it,
the court was like, well, we don't need them to testify because his character is not questioned. His character is not sabotaged. So basically, they were saying, we don't need his witnesses to come on the stand and testify because we know Moses now.
Yeah,
we know who he is now, and we know that he didn't do that. We know that those allegations are not true. So we're going to move forward with the trial, and we will only entertain witnesses that can testify to information that will be relevant to the issues that are standing. And the issues that stood were basically financial issues. There was no issues about, any adultery or cruelty or neglect of duty. But she used that, the wife used that initially as a part of a scheme. She used that as a part of a scheme to get him what? To go to court and to get them to be aggressive and to play the damsel in distress. She had an attorney that used to work there that was an ex-employee there, so she filed that complaint. And when he didn't accept $30,000 out of court settlement, she filed the complaint. And then when she filed the complaint and the proceedings started going and got to going, she made another offer.
Yeah.
And he declined that. Okay, he declined that. And then before the trial started, they proposed an offer, and that offer was declined. So we went through with the trial. So that was big for them to change the allegations on the complaint. It was important that they took the adultery and the cruelty and the neglect of duty off of there because he's a public figure, and that affects him, that affects his reputation, and those things weren't true. And people who know him was like, wait a minute, what? And then so when you look back on the situation, the court is embarrassed because this woman and her attorney, who used to be an employee there, painted him out to be this big monster who was supposed to be cruel, cheating, neglect of duty, and all of that stuff. The actual court, I actually sat in the court one day, and they actually printed up a warrant for him to go to jail. They actually did that. They actually did that. And so all of that was done because of who they thought he was. You see what I mean? And that's the part, is the reason why we're in the federal court, because it was a scheme. It was a criminal scheme.
Embezzlement.
It was embezzlement. It was RICO. Many predicate acts were violated, and we intend to fight this vigorously. We intend to fight it vigorously, very aggressive and very vigorously. Okay, so we won't be able to tell y'all what the ruling was in the divorce because that ruling have not happened yet. So we just had the trial, and that was it, pretty much.
Now I know it's about 30 minutes, so I know that he's about to go. He's about to talk about that federal stuff. But I want to say before he starts talking about that, I want to say a couple more things in regards to this trial, and mainly my wife. Now, like, I should be enraged right now. I should be really mad and saying like, oh, I hate her. And, I know you guys saw me in earlier videos cussing and stuff, saying I'm gonna drain that bitch and all that stuff. I was mad. Anybody would be mad if they were put through a similar situation.
Absolutely.
But being realistic, I'm looking at my daughters, and I'm like, I'm not saying that I'll forget the past. I'm never going to forget what they did, but I'm not mad at my wife. Like, I'm more disappointed. Okay, I'm more disappointed at her than anything, and the reason why I'm disappointed is because this woman, I spent a decade. When I met her, I was 21. I spent all my 20s, okay, and I was faithful to this woman. She's older than me and she made more money than me, but I was very loyal to her. I didn't have no affairs. I wasn't talking to any girls. I tried my best. No one is perfect, but I tried my best, when I was in a relationship with her. So I don't have anything. I'm not mad at her or anything. I can get on the phone right now and have a conversation with her. But because my kids, I want my kids to see that. I don't want them to be traumatized. I mean, they were traumatized enough by not being able to see me for all that time, but I don't want them seeing we're fighting and stuff. I know they're getting older, they can feel certain things, but I'm doing it for them. I'm willing to move on for them. And then as far as my wife being on this federal complaint, we were talking, Mark and I were talking about it. It was like, we were considering taking her off the lawsuit. We were considering that, taking her off. But what she went on ahead and did,
lying in court, devaluing, undervaluing assets.
She messed it up for herself by doing what she did this week in the trial court. How you going? You lying. You can't. You not tired yet? You not tired yet? You lying. I don't have anything that came from lying. Many of you know I'm not a liar. I'm not gonna sit up there lying, especially on the stand. And then what really touched me, it hurt me a little bit. It did. I asked this woman if I had a stroke. I asked her I just wanted to see what she was gonna say. I asked her if I had a stroke, and you know what she said? Well, that's what you told me. That's what I told you. So you think that I was lying? I had a stroke. I could have died from that. This is what I told you. And see, that made it easier for us
to not take
her off the lawsuit, because you acting like that.
Not only are you acting like that, but you're lying. And then, this is what really took the cake. Now, we know that she's from Taiwan, and Taiwan does not have an extradition treaty with the United States, meaning that if the kids go over there and she said, well, they ain't coming back, then that's just it. So, we expressed a concern about that. So her attorney had asked the court if they can get a court order to allow her to take the kids to Taiwan, but I can't. But do not allow Moses here to take the kids to no other foreign countries. Okay, so it was, it was really that's just a really diabolical and unrealistic request, and they made that request. And that's not realistic. But the judge already knew what they were up to, and she asked her. She said, "Well, did you book the tickets for the kids to go to Taiwan yet?" And the wife answered. She was like, "Yeah, I'm in the process of doing it." So the judge seen right there that she was trying to be sneaky, and she was trying to hurry up and make it seem like they have to hurry up and go to Taiwan to visit their family, because they go there often. They have to visit their family, so we want to send them over there with the plane tickets. And the judge was like, "So did you buy the plane tickets yet?" She said, "I'm in the process." So she was going to leave the court and go book tickets to prevent them from being able to go with him for the summer. She actually also tried to enroll them in summer school as a way to prevent him from getting them from the summer. So she could say, "Oh, they're having problems in school and they need summer school." So she want to put the 7-year-olds in the summer school.
That's just
so they can't go with their dad for the summer. You see what I mean? So they seen that after a while, and they was able to identify that. So, it was really sad. I kind of felt bad for her, because she really got chewed up really bad on that stand. She really got ate up. She got ate up real bad. And it was just really, really bad. The document that was forged, he asked her about that document. She lied and said she signed it. She lied, and it's bad. It's gonna be bad. This federal case is really going to be. It's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, she could have been right off the law, because we, like I said, we were talking about it, and we were gonna take her off, but this week told us, like, look, she's not willing to. She's still playing games, and I can't. And it's unfortunate because you guys know Chinese is my second language. Okay, I'm for immersion, and I want my kids to spend time with their family over there. But how can I trust somebody like that? How can I trust you? I can't trust this woman. You just put me through all this. You filed this frivolous complaint,
and then changed it,
and then changed it
after all these years.
You changed it, and then you plotting, you getting ready to take my kids out of the country and put me in a position to where the only way that I'll be able to see them again is if I go over there and literally kidnap them and bring them back here, because we couldn't do nothing if you leave. It's just,
it's bad.
It's crazy. And then, and again, like I said, I go back to what I said. Despite her doing that, how she acted this week, I would still get on the phone with her and talk to her. But she got to go through this. There needs to be some repercussions for what she did, and acting like that, because that's pure sociopath. Like you acting like that, knowing that I didn't do anything to you and I was loyal to you. I took care of her, man. She made more money than me, but I took care of her, especially when she had my daughter. She was pregnant and stuff. I did what I had to do. That's all I really wanted to say. It's just like, I don't hate the woman. I have nothing. I don't hate her, and I'm not mad at her. I'm just disappointed. But I'm willing to just, I'll talk to her. I don't want to be back in a relationship with her, but I'll talk to her for the sake of the kids. I should get on the phone, like, look, Gotti wants to talk to you or whatever, for that purpose. But she need the punishment. You can't you can't do that, because then
what you gonna do to somebody else down the line?
Yeah, you gonna do to somebody else. It's gonna probably be worse. She might kill somebody.
Yeah. So that has to be dealt with. Okay, now we're going to talk about the federal court. Now, in the federal case, I'm going to go as fast as I can, because I know many of you is like, oh, we want to hear the federal matters. Okay, there was some motions to dismiss that were granted. There was the Ohio Supreme Court. There was Maureen O'Connor. Okay, there was Bill Wellemeyer. There was Amy Corgal Jones. There was Katarina Cook. There was the 10th District Court of Appeals, and there was the 9th District Court of Appeals. And there was the Summit County Domestic Relations Court, and there's the Summit County Court of Common Pleas. Those are the defendants that was dismissed so far. We are not going to speak about the about those. Those were removed, and we'll deal with that at a later time so far. And from my understanding, there will be some more rulings going in. As you know, a lot of you know, there was a motion for a gag order that went in. The counsel for Stacey Gilbert and William, the law offices of William L. Geary and William L. Geary, there was a motion for a gag order that was put in. They wanted the district court to restrain Moses and I, and they wanted them to restrain our First Amendment right, and they wanted also to have them to order us to take the videos down called Exposing Dirty Cops and Judges in Columbus and Stacey Gilbert Scared of Oral Argument. Those two particular videos, they wanted those videos down. And like I told you guys, when the motion came in, I told you that they're not getting they're not getting that gag order denied. Because why did I know that? Why did I know they weren't getting that gag order? They weren't getting that gag order approved. I'm sorry. The reason why I knew they weren't getting the gag order approved is because I sit and I read all the laws at night Like I'll be up at 12 o'clock at night,
And sorry to cut you off. And y'all, those of you who be making comments like, "Why Mark is on that phone?" You know why he's on that phone? He's telling you right now why he's been on that phone.
I'm reading law. So a lot of the videos where you see him leveling up, a lot of the videos where you see we're in certain places and you guys see me on the phone, I'm actually on the phone reading laws. So I was reading laws, and I was able to learn these laws that I had no knowledge about. I didn't know any of this stuff before this happened. But I had to learn this stuff on a whim. I had to learn it on a whim. And we both sat down and we learned it together on a whim. And we had to do it because clearly we understood that there's a culture in that town. There's a culture that they just do things that this is the way we do things. They're not following any type of, you know what I mean? It's just culture. So the gag order got denied. They didn't get the gag order. So that was, you know, neither here nor there because we already knew they wasn't getting it. Let me see what else. We had a telephone status conference hearing today with the magistrate Judge Jolson. And all the attorneys were on the line except for Todd Sidoti, who feels he doesn't have to participate in any part of this. He's sadly mistaken, and you know, he's sadly mistaken. We're going to be dealing with him shortly, but he didn't show up to the status conference hearing. He wasn't there either by a physical appearance or telephone. He just said forget the whole thing. So the FBI, they haven't said anything. They haven't retained counsel. They haven't said anything. And we do know that that we cannot sue the FBI as a federal entity because they're a federal entity and they could not have arranged their affairs to, you know, be violating someone's rights. So we have to go after the individuals. So those individuals' information will be subpoenaed, or the case against them will be we'll probably put a 41 in and bring that case back at a later time against them if we decide to do that. But we're still waiting on many of the rulings to go in. They are moving. I do have to give it to them, Judge Algernon. They are moving in a timely. They're moving at a good pace, so we feel that pace is fair. But they stayed discovery today, which we were a little apprehensive about that, but we gave them the benefit of the doubt on that because they put a time frame on it. They said that the case would be the discovery in the case would be stayed for 60 days until Judge Algernon got down to the rulings was made to see what we're going to do with, you know, some of the other defendants. But it's very, very interesting because in one of Judge Algernon's rulings, the ruling that he ruled on for Stacey Gilbert, he correctly identified the conduct that went on as criminal conduct. Okay, that was criminal conduct that went on. Anytime you violate a federal statute that is a criminal statute, you're conducting criminal acts. So this was a financial scheme. This was a scheme to get more than $100,000. Okay, this was a very diabolical, very diabolical tactic to try to steal from someone. And the Sixth Circuit, they recognize that type of activity as criminal conduct, and they offer redress for that in this district court. So there was a lot that happened that I think that we're going to get down to the bottom of. But the municipality of the Ohio 10th District Court of Appeals and the 9th District Court of Appeals, they were taken off, as I stated a few moments ago. So we're just waiting. We're not going to say nothing about how he made his rulings or nothing that yet, because we have a lot to say about it, but we're not going to say it yet. We're going to let him continue to make his rulings until his rulings is all made. Then we'll deal with the case, and then we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it piece by piece. But we will not stop kicking ass until the right thing is done. All right? We will not stop kicking ass until the right thing is done. You know, this thing could potentially get buttoned up and we all could move on and everybody could go on with their lives. But you don't get to do all of that and then just walk away. No. We have to be made whole again. You have to pay for what you did. There has to be accountability. Okay? And there will be accountability one way or the other. Bottom line. So, we do expect that. So, discovery in the case is stayed for 60 days, and we're going to be moving forward. So we don't really have anything else to say. We're going into 47 minutes. So thank you guys for your patience. We'll be updating you and providing you updates as the case moves forward. But yeah, we're in federal court. They denied Stacey Gilbert's motion to dismiss, so she won't be getting out this lawsuit. Yeah, they're not getting out. So guys, stay tuned. If you have any questions, enter them in the comment section. And you have anything to say?
No, that's it. Just want to say, like, thank you guys for your patience. I know you guys wait around for videos, but we're mainly focusing on the things that go on in the courts. So that's why we haven't been putting that much stuff out. And you guys know, if you follow me in my other channel, I'm very busy over there. I got a lot of content that I'll be working on over there. But we'll keep you guys updated on things. And in the meantime, in
between time, we'll holler at you.
All right, so you guys take it easy. Thanks for viewing, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Au revoir.